Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to your alt news. Today's broadcast is about a Swedish behavioral scientist who proposes cannibalism to fight climate change. Can you imagine eating human flesh? Well, in Stockholm, climate change alarmism has taken a macabre turn that will seem to be satire, but it's not. It happened in Sweden at a summit for food of the future, the climate ravaged future, called Gastro Summit in Stockholm on September 3rd and 4th. A professor held a PowerPoint presentation asserting that we must awaken the idea of eating human flesh in the future as a way of combating the effects of climate change. In a talk titled, "Can You Imagine Eating Human Flesh?" behavioral scientist and marketing strategist Magnus Soderlund from Handelshögskolan, the College of Commerce, argues for the breaking down of the ancient taboos against desecrating the human corpse and eating human flesh. He refers to the taboos against it as conservative and discusses people's resistance to it as a problem that could be overcome little by little, beginning with persuading people to just taste it. He can be seen in his video presentation and on state Swedish television channel TV4 saying that since food sources will be scarce in the future, people must be introduced to eating things they have thus far considered disgusting, among them human flesh. Easier sales, he suggests, include pets and insects. So, aside from eating humans, he is suggesting that we eat Rover, Duke, Coco, your pets, and then try some insects. I'm sure they're filled and enriched with vitamin B12, and you can get your vitamin E and everything. Just find some roaches and some flies and things. But human flesh was the central topic. In Swedish articles describing this new debate, the term Människoköttbranschen is introduced. This means, quote, the human flesh industry. Do you hear this so-called behavioral scientist? But anyways, in his bio at the Stockholm School of Economics, Soderlund states that his research focus includes, quote, consumer behavior, marketing stimuli, loyalty emotions, justice perceptions, psychological reactions, and in a society increasingly obsessed with consumption. He says people can be tricked, and I read that as propagandized or propaganda. Soderlund teases into making the right decisions. So he says that, let's just trick people into trying it out. In his talks, Soderlund asked the audience how many would be open to the idea. Not many hands go up. Some groaning is heard. When interviewed after his talk, he reports brightly that 8% of conference participants said they would be open to trying it. When asked if he himself would try it, he replies, quote, I feel somewhat hesitant, but to not appear overly conservative, I'd have to say I'd be open to at least tasting it, unquote. The logo for the talk, titled, quote, Food for the Future, worms, grasshoppers, or human flesh, unquote, features a splash of blood as part of the graphic design. With Soderlund, what Soderlund doesn't mention, curiously, is the long documented science on the biological effects of cannibalism. You see, he tries to leave out some of the most important parts. Let's go to what the report is saying here. It says a tribe called the Fore, that's Fore, lived in isolation in Papua New Guinea until the 1930s. They believed in eating their dead rather than allowing them to be consumed by worms. This led to an epidemic of a disease called Kuru, that's Kuru, or the laughing death, caused by ingestion of human flesh. This disease wasn't caused by a pathogen, but rather a twisted protein, according to an NPR report, that tricks other proteins in the brain to twist like it, damaging the brain's cerebellum. Researchers compared it to Dr. Jekyll's transformation. The last victim of Kuru died in 2009. Whoever is in charge of Sweden's public relations is doing an abysmal job. That's unless the new brand is that this small northern country, obsessed with atheism and political correctness, is now cooler than ever for resetting all previously known boundaries of noir and madness. Well, you just heard this broadcast here, your alt news station. And by the way, while we're at it, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future broadcasts. But I'd like to hear what you think, what your idea of cannibalism is. Do you think eating your friends and family members and loved ones is a good idea to help, quote, combat climate change? Because that's exactly what this is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about combating climate change. I find it interesting that in his talks, though, when he's advocating this idea to his audiences, that he's not telling them about the epidemic Kuru. That's an important factor. But you tell me what you think. Again, this is your alt news station. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you in the next broadcast. Thank you.